Hello, everybody. I'm Jeremy, owner-operator of Green 13 for 15 years. Third generation auctioneer and dealer of antiques and collectibles for over 30 years.
We are Lysandra and Tony from ilovediscounts_com with 20 years of experience across brick and mortar, Amazon, eBay, and whatnot. We have built, broken, and rebuilt resale businesses, so you don't have to.
Hi, I'm Tracy, a CPA with over 30 years of audit and tax experience and have worked with businesses in various industries. I am also a seller on Whatnot, eBay, and Etsy.
Welcome to Reselling Roundtable.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Reselling Roundtable. Tonight, we are going to be talking about the myth of dollar starts and free shipping. So I will kick us off and get us started. The first thing I want to say, it is no surprise that all of us have either done free shipping, still do it, and we are all huge proponents of dollar starts. However, we're going to put all of our biases aside, and we're going to talk to you about the benefits, the obstacles, the myths, the truths of it, just all the ins and outs of dollar starts and our low starts, free shipping and our reduced shipping, really focused on the dollar and the free part of that. One point I want to make before we really jump into this, and I really think everybody here probably agrees with this, is that dollar starts or whatever starting price you have and your free shipping are tools. They are each individual tools in a much larger picture of your show. So just because you do dollar starts doesn't mean you're going to be successful. Just because you do free shipping doesn't guarantee success. They have to work cohesively amongst everything else, the experience, the environment, just every other part of your show, the lighting. Just when you think about it, it is just one small piece. So we're going to talk about that. And that kind of leads into some of the myths we hear of, oh, well, I've tried it and it doesn't work because I don't have enough people or whatever it may be. I am sure that all of us here tonight, the four of us have heard probably every excuse why it will not work, but we've also seen real results of people who've tried it and why it does work. So we're going to talk about all of that. One other point I want to make before we really get into this and I turn it over to everybody else to hear their point of view is all of us will always recommend know your analytics, know your financials. You don't jump into either one of these things blindly. Again, they are tools that you use with the proper analytics and making smart business decisions. So it's something that you think about and you apply as it works for your business. With that, I'm going to just back off here, let somebody else kind of take over, but maybe we can start on the dollar start side and see where that goes.
Rock, paper,
Jeremy?
scissors for who goes next.
Tony, Lysandra.
Ready?
Go ahead.
Rock.
Oh my gosh, she's really doing it. Speak. Hey, look, I'll jump in here. I am 100% an advocate for the dollar starts, except of course in today's rate train, which I did $5 starts. Stop yours. Stop.
Hypocrite. No.
Stop.
Complete
Stop.
hypocrite.
There's look, you have to look at what's going to happen. You have to look at show to show, event driven, non-event driven, rate trains in your regular show. You have to look at everything to determine when you can do dollar starts, if you can do dollar starts. We are dollar start sellers on Whatnot, plain and simple. We buy our jewelry for dollar starts. We're buying clothing this week, and we're going to do dollar starts on clothing. I mean, we like the dollar start. I think it gives you an ample opportunity to have customers come into your show and stay in your show. But as Tracy said, it's not the be-all, end-all to successful selling on Whatnot. If you, one example, just throwing it out there because we all know it. If you are, for lack of a better term, a piss poor seller with dollar starts, it's probably not going to help you. If you have a bad attitude, if you just you in general, if you can't keep people in, a dollar start's not going to help you. And I can't get that through enough. We've seen enough shows that say dollar starts is probably not going to help you. Sorry, I deviated for a minute, but Tracy kind of brought it in there. It's part of the bigger picture to being successful on whatnot. But as far as dollar, and if you can't do dollar, we've all said this too. Go as low as you can. Go ahead. She's wanting to jump. She's always trying to cut me off.
Well, out of the four of us, I think Tony struggles with dollar starts the most.
Yep.
No.
Can we vote? Can we vote? I'm with Lysandra on that one.
Tony's like, here we go. Here's another beat up session. What did I do?
And yet I run it every day.
So
I've spent the better part of 18 months being frustrated with the dollar starts, but I've watched it grow. If we were consistent with shows and consistent with product and consistent with the dollar starts, I've watched our room grow into something. It's not something that happens over one or two shows. You got to run them for, several weeks to show any real fruit from your labors.
Can I ask why you're frustrated? Because I think that would be a good talking point.
I am not so much frustrated today as I was 8 months ago. Honestly. And that frustration really just came from the eBay mentality. I know that this will sell for $92 on eBay, and I'm throwing it in whatnot for a dollar start, and it goes for $6. And well, even though I understand the volume principle, I get it. And turning it over fast and buying the next round and turning that over fast and making profit daily over holding the inventory for a long amount of time, it was still very frustrating to me. But less so today.
I'm waiting.
Here we go.
Sandra. I'm waiting.
I know.
I'm waiting.
Me too.
I know. Here it goes. Here we go.
So, to give better context to I Love Discounts in recent history, we have done vinyl record shows at $2 starts. And the mentality behind that was we're not trying to build an audience there. And they're not good records, right, that are going to get bid up. Tony just did a $5 start raid train today. And we've had many conversations recently because you want to do clothing at $2 starts.
I do not. I want to do clothing at $1.25.
And
Still
to what Jack's Treasure said, that was actually going to be another thing that I added in. Tony talked about your attitude, but I've seen many crappy attitude sellers at dollar starts with great product do really well. You can't bring your junk at dollar starts and expect it to get bid up. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they're trying to start and do dollar start shows.
Yeah.
Is that they're bringing their leftovers and they're putting all the good stuff on eBay and they're bringing whatever they don't want to put on eBay to whatnot and expecting to just make a pile of money with it. Well, it's your leftovers, which is what your audience perceives. That's the product you're bringing. Why do they want to bid that up? What else? We've $2 start record shows, $5 start. And I think the dollar starts and
just so everyone knows, I did catch a little bit of hell for the $5 starts today.
Oh yeah, I had that share set up for dollar starts. It was Blue Flow China. It was going to get bid up.
I didn't know that.
I think it'd be good if we set the stage. If we set the stage on where we are in our own businesses with dollar starts and free shipping really quick, just so everybody kind of knows the perspectives that we're coming from.
I just want to go a little bit into the same track that we kind of started here. I want everybody also to understand if you know me, you know I'm a huge advocate for dollar starts, huge
Mm-hmm.
advocate for trying to get to as low on both aspects, shipping and price points. However, like everyone has already said, it's a compounding effect, not a tool to success. It's something that once you get some ground, that's where you start working towards. It's not something that's going to make you successful as a general rule. Exceptions, I don't follow exceptions. I follow the rule because that's what leads to foundational principles of success. And I can't stress that enough. Like, I'm a huge advocate, but that doesn't mean I think people, and I don't think any of us here, based on what we're all have said and have said in the past and today, it is a tool to use in the future out of all the tools in the toolbox. But to me, it's one of the largest tools that can be used to leverage the value in your shows
Yeah.
from a multitude of angles. And we're going to, I'll get into a lot of that as we move forward here. So, what was that you were saying, Tracy? What were you asking?
I think we
You
should
said,
level set what we currently do in our business just so everybody watching knows kind of where we're coming from. So I do dollar starts across the board. I do free shipping on Tuesdays and drastically reduced shipping on the rest of my shows. So that's where I'm at currently. In the past, I did 6 months of free shipping dollar starts and vintage decor. I've done reduced shipping, I've done full price shipping, but currently in my business right now, I do free shipping dollar starts on Tuesdays, dollar starts every other time, and drastically reduce shipping on the rest of the shows. And I know you guys are similar boats, or if not even better than that.
I love discounts. It's primarily dollar starts. I don't think we've ever done a jewelry show where we didn't do dollar starts. But we've been dabbling in like the record shows for certain reasons, and we just did a live selling show where we were just doubling the prices of the asking price of the seller. But primarily dollar starts. Almost always max shipping is set or reduced shipping. We did dabble in free shipping, which I think is going to be an interesting topic tonight because we did it for 4 months and we're not even close to considering it again yet.
Yeah.
so I am dollar starts and free shipping. I had shifted from doing free shipping on my Friday show, whereas that's the show that I do larger items. And I've now gone back to free shipping during those Friday shows. However, let's put this into context. I adjusted my entire business to take advantage of dollar starts and free shipping. Not so much dollar starts, but the free shipping attribute.
Yeah.
There was a time in the business years ago that I was not anywhere near percentage wise weighted towards jewelry like I am now. So the adoption of the jewelry because of the density of value to them and the attributes that can be leveraged through free shipping and dollar starts works magic with smaller items like that.
100%.
So make sure everyone understands in context, but at the same time, in context, everyone has the option to do that. They can shift their business model to accommodate for that, create a more dense sales environment. When I say dense, I'm talking about smaller items that have the same value as larger items and allows you to capitalize on dollar stars and free shipping. So that's what I did. And then as far as my Friday shows, I decided to go back to free shipping because I believe it was more of a mental environment that I was creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of losses as a result of my mood due to the fact that I was utilizing free shipping. So we'll, I'm sure, talk about that some more because that's one of the biggest hiccups when it comes to people adopting the free shipping, in my opinion.
What
So
other categories besides jewelry, coins, and cards are dense, in your opinion?
gemstones,
I would put that in jewelry,
watches.
though.
What's that? Gemstone
I,
watches.
I would put that in jewelry, though. Both of those.
And also, I think anything that is almost a uniform size product, you could fit into a standardized business model because you could know exactly your numbers. You know, right down to the number of what your shipping prices are going to be. I think clothing's pretty freaking dense. I think you can make clothing work.
Yeah.
I think even vintage decor, if you kept it to all smalls.
You can do vintage
Yeah,
decor. You have to be a lot more strategic with the
Yep,
items on vintage
absolutely.
decor, but
yeah,
it
and that's what
works.
I mean by adapting your business model to
Yep.
accommodate for it. I think it's in every category. It's just a matter of adapting to it. And there's nothing saying you can't do a hybrid system. if you really don't like eating those, higher shipping costs that are involved with some of the larger items, just the making that available to your buyers increases your brand buy-in across the board, whether it's a free shipping show or not. The fact that you offered it at some point in time is colossally beneficial to your stream.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I'm only doing it one day a week, and I see benefits just from doing free shipping one day a week. And
Are you?
it's not across the board. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it's detrimental to your other shows though?
No,
I don't.
and the reason I don't think that, because as long as you're doing your job and setting expectations and making people aware and being fully transparent in how you're running your business, and that's the beauty of selling on live stream, the social attributes. People get engaged, people know what you're doing and how you're doing it. Yes, I'd have some people on Fridays sometimes say, "Hey, no free shipping today," when I wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
But the majority of everybody else would go, "No, they don't do that's every other day of the week." I wouldn't even have to answer. So you would know the people that weren't as familiar yet, and then they're perfectly fine because the entire room, the social attribute, kicks in and was like, "Oh, okay, that's fine. Everyone else understands it, knows it," and then they go with the social norm that you created through transparency, and they're fully understanding of why, and you give them a good reason why you did it. Or me, very frequently, I tell people I'm experimenting because they know that's part of my process of selling on here, or not on here, but on Whatnot.
Yeah.
So, and in other styles of selling, you don't have that opportunity. You don't have the ability to kind of create that colossal transparent attribute to allow for that flexibility in your sales.
And I think, like Jeremy says, it opens up that opportunity for education, particularly for those of us that are doing these talk shows, where it gives us the opportunity to say, "Hey, look what we're doing in action, and let me tell you why I choose it to do this day and not on another day." Now, I've never had the question. I mean, I would love for somebody to come in my chat show and ask me, because I've thought this through to the nth degree on why I do it. So, but I think it provides that opportunity to educate on why I chose to do it one day and not the other days, and show the business reasoning behind it.
Yeah, and all that creates social reinforcement, which is essentially brand buy-in. And that's huge. That's huge on here, or I keep saying on here, but on Whatnot.
So Tracy, what have you changed, if anything, on your Tuesday show for free shipping versus every other show with the products you do?
Size of items. And the main differentiator is, because my two bigger shows would be the Tuesday free shipping and then my Saturday themed curated shows. Saturday shows are high quality. Quality is the main attribute that I bring to the table on those shows. So size of the item is secondary to quality. Tuesdays, size of item comes first, and then some of the other attributes. So it is focused on picking items that I can ship with free shipping in a way that is beneficial to both me and the buyer.
Gotcha. I mean, that's what we were talking about. Change the business to make the free shipping work, right?
Yep.
Yep. And I just want to throw this out there. I think it's worth it. It has done wonders for our company, changing the business to accommodate for it.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out how to keep the value in it when we were doing it.
For the health and beauty.
For the health and beauty.
It was tough. It was tough for us because we weren't bringing lots of new rotated in health and beauty versus what we'd been selling for the prior months. It was still the same truckloads.
So the product had elements of diminishing returns, and you can't sell into a compounding value with diminishing returns or counterbalancing it. The value that would compound from free shipping is offset by the diminishing returns of the items you continue to bring, would be my theory of why that probably created a non-successful.
Yeah.
I just know
it started off, I mean, the first couple months were...
We doubled our average order value,
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons we wanted to start it. We wanted to rebuild momentum where I'd lost it. We'd been off the app for almost a month selling because of burnout. And we wanted to come back, and we knew it was going to hard to get that momentum we originally had when we started on the app. And free shipping that's about when I found you, Jeremy, I think, and you were kind of sorry, dabbling around in free shipping and talking about it on your Sunday shows. And I wanted to get out of giveaways, and that's how I convinced Tony. I said, let's get rid of the giveaways. Let's try this free shipping and see what works out. A room count colossally blew up. And for the first 2 months, our average order value doubled. But then the second 2 months, it just kept going down and down and down. And I tried different ways to sell it. And I used to make little funny things in the chat. Noelle loved them. We used to banter back and forth and all kinds of stuff. And I just couldn't seem to get it there until the point we were right back at the same average order value.
Yep.
And Tony's correct. Our health and beauty, while it was very wide in product, it still was the same health and beauty we'd been selling on the app since we had started.
That's still inventory. So basically what I'm going to tell you is if you weren't doing free shipping, my belief, if you had a time machine to go back, the values would have dropped even further.
It still would have just dropped.
100%.
It would the same outcome would have happened to you.
Yep.
The free shipping, the free shipping probably held the value longer had you not done it. You probably would have lost value a lot faster because then you're running into that situation where the cost of your shipping starts becoming a larger percentage of the final sale price, and that starts to colossally killing your overall retail prices.
And that's what we were getting into.
So one of the.
But then, go ahead, Tracy.
No, go. You finish, and then because I was going to kind of.
I was just going to say, I mean, at the end of that, though, I mean, the prices of the health and beauty had gone up so much anyway. There was no way we could even keep continuing, even if we weren't having issues with the business.
Even in our food shows, though, the price was going down, the average order value, and we consistently got new truckloads with that.
And that was new product.
I couldn't keep the value in the food shows, and the food shows is really where those shipping charges
add up.
took a bite.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
So, yeah, the food wasn't small stuff. I mean, you're getting 80 count Keurig boxes and stuff like that. I mean, it was big product. Anyway, go ahead, Tracy. Sorry.
I was going to mention 2 comments in the chat and then also kind of bring up another challenge that arose when we were doing free shipping. Free shipping dollar starts completely across the board. So 2 of the comments, the first was that on other apps, knickknacks, because we can mention other apps, our district, they're doing a lot of free shipping too. So this isn't just a whatnot thing. This is, across the board on multiple apps. So this isn't, we're not just saying, oh, on whatnot as a live auction site. We're seeing this take hold and the effects of it throughout various live selling apps. And then the other comment, I think Jack's Treasures made it, it's up higher, that if you're not starting at $1, you're essentially building in a reserve, which then anchors values in people's minds. So I thought that was an interesting comment. I thought that may be something that Jeremy might expand on. But I do want to come back to tell a story about free shipping after we talk about that.
As we talk about building in a reserve?
Well, like if you're not doing $1, if you're doing any other price, you're essentially creating the reserve at the auction. You're creating a reserve price.
You're starting a higher start price. I mean, you are creating a reserve. And let's just parallel that to eBay. How many people have tried selling stuff on eBay at any point in time with a reserve?
I have.
And how well does it turn out?
It does not
work.
It doesn't work.
I mean, ultimately, that experiment has already played out to be unsuccessful.
Yeah.
And yes, can you get some bids doing start price? But the principle's still the same. You are starting things at higher values. And I will later, I'm going to go into some more of the myths that people talk about. But I'll start talking about, I think where Tracy's curious about me going to is the endowment effect and all that kind of stuff, which gets hammered if you start things higher. Plus, whenever you start something at a higher price, bidding momentum stops. The endowment effect doesn't happen. You prevent the what I would call like the reverse loss aversion effect, where and there's another biggie here is whenever you start something at lower prices, there's what's called the principle of house money, essentially. If somebody gets a good deal, they're playing with house money. And if you're starting everything high, no one ever has an opportunity to play with house money.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk about that later. That is another compounding effect that happens as a result of low starts and free shipping. So, yeah, that's going to be all the fun granular stuff that I have my fun notes over here to go into later. But
Okay.
I did want to, since we called the name, the name of the thing is the name of this episode is the myths. You guys go around more in the chat shows and things like that and hear what people are saying and the statements they're saying as to why they can't do it. I'm curious to hear some of that, what goes around. And I know some of them, but I'm curious of what's floating out there now, presently. Before, I mean, the stuff that I remember hearing was quite some time ago now, and I don't spend as much
They're
time
they're
in
probably
those.
the same.
I,
They're
The
probably
big
the
Probably.
one.
I
same.
don't think they've
I mean, the
changed.
two biggest ones that I hear are I'm too small. And
Not
they
enough
don't look
people.
at the opportunity that dollar starts can help provide with quality product. But the I also hear a lot, and the one that gets more combative, I think, in chats is you're if you start at a dollar, you're devaluating the perception. You're devaluing your
Hmm.
product.
Oh, that one gets under my skin so much. Oh, that's gonna heat me up when I hear that one.
So they're saying that they're too small to capitalize on it.
Yeah,
You're saying
Not
is
enough
one of
people in the
the
room. Yeah.
not enough people
that's
in the room.
that is by far got to be the biggest one.
Hmm.
I mean, I understand where that's coming from, and I understand. My thing is, they're looking at it as this is my principle of what I think the myth is rooted in is people thinking that it's an all or nothing principle.
Hmm.
So if you're small, there's that's fine. There's nothing saying you have to do all dollar starts. So if you're small and don't have a bunch of people in the room, creating the opportunities by offering them from time to time throughout the course of your sale or in opportune moments when someone raids you. Obviously, a lot of people have capitalized on utilizing dollar starts. If you hit certain thresholds, you offer it. I always tell people as a flip option to during giveaways, do some dollar starts and some merchandise, and put that kind of those simple things into practice, understanding that it's not an all or nothing proposition to doing dollar starts. So I think that's where the myth comes in is people just automatically assume when we're talking dollar starts, that means running an entire dollar start show. And then they automatically go, well, I can't do that because I don't have enough people. You can do dollar starts. You just have to do it strategically to gain that traction that you need to gain in order to start getting some forward momentum in your shows.
And the real question to that, and I try to I try to say this often enough. If you don't do dollar starts because your room doesn't have enough people in it, how many people do you think will come into your room if you do dollar starts?
It's the Field of Dreams method. You build it, they will
I
come.
know,
Like it is. I say
right?
that all the
Yeah.
time, but it is the ultimate example of the Field of Dreams.
Now, let's go back to the conversation we had earlier about my conversation that I had with somebody during my chat show
Yeah.
this morning. Okay.
Hmm.
This is a perfect example. Somebody that consistently had 10 people, no more, roughly 10 people in their room. They get a raid. They do a dollar start, realize it did well. And guess what they kept doing?
Dollar
Dollar
starts.
They
starts.
kept doing dollar starts. And they had a record show, a record breaking show, extremely
Hmm.
high average order value was, to the moon emotionally. Like you could tell they were extremely happy with the outcome of the show to the point where they're doing it again this upcoming Monday.
Nice.
So that's just what we're talking about here is just because you're small doesn't mean the opportunities to leverage that isn't available to you because you can change the prices on the fly. And if it does well with one, it can do well with two, it can do well with three. And next thing you know, you're selling 150 items with dollar starts and realizing the value behind it. But you don't need to start your show that way. But you need to be ready and available to capitalize on the opportunities when they present themselves if you are a smaller seller. Again, that's all rooted in this myth that if you're going to do dollar starts, you have to adopt it and stick to it and grind it out. You don't have to. You can. I've put that experiment to the test. It's been quite some time ago. I started a new account and didn't tell anybody and just started out dollar starts. Wasn't free shipping at the time, but it was sterling silver dollar start. And I ended the experiment once people started realizing it was me. But up until that point, it took three shows. On my third show, I turned profitable. for the entirety of all my products at all 3 shows.
There's another thing that I hear, and it kind of goes to the devaluing thing too, but it's like, I pay too much for it. There's no way I can start my item at $1. I have far more cost in it than that. And so what I think is the hardest stumbling block here to understand is, okay, we can have the exact same product. We can pay the same amount. I'm going to start mine at $1 and you're going to double, you're going to start it at twice what you paid. I'm going to sell mine right away while you show yours for 3 shows, put it in your bin, finally discount it, move it around on your shelf a few times. 6 months later, you're going to keep dropping the price till you finally sell it at the exact same price I already sold that item for 6 months ago. At the end of the day, we're probably making the same price because the market is the market on whatnot, but I'm doing it a lot faster because I'm just going straight to the dollar start and getting it done. And now I've taken that money that I've made and turned that around 10 times while you're still moving
Yep.
your item around on the shelf. So, and trying to get that concept through to really understand that whole philosophy is a struggle.
And I think the other struggle is getting people to understand, and it's a hard one, that when something sells for less than what you sold it for, there is opportunity in there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunity in there. And the
I
inability
struggle
to,
with that one.
yeah, the inability to separate the individual item from the totality of the sale that you just had is, to me, where that myth, that's the rooted aspect, in my opinion, to that myth, where people think, if I'm starting, things for $1, you're devaluing it, or I can't sell things starting at $1 because I paid more than that for it. That's obviously not the case, because there's plenty of people that do just fine. But if you can look at a holistic principle, top-down perspective on the items that you're selling, that the times that you end up selling something for less create so much opportunity for you in the future, as far as marketing buy-in, brand buy-in, and appreciation amongst everybody else that's in the room. That is leverageable and compounds over and over and over again to help build your business and create a colossal success for you.
Well, even just in if you just look at it during a show, not just compounding success of people coming back or people think they're going to get good deals, just in the essence of the show, if everything I run at $1 gets bid way up to a high price, I'm going to essentially, there's going to be a whole group of people in my room who are going to be like, I can never afford anything in this show. I actually want some stuff to go at $2, $3, $4, $5 because that's appealing, because then everybody in the room is like, not everything's getting bid up to $30, $40. I can still afford things in this room. I get excited when things still go for $3 or $4 because it keeps people engaged, because it keeps it in their mind that there is still that possibility of getting these wonderful deals.
Yeah. Opportunity of value can only stay an opportunity for so long for it to be a leverageable attribute for realized earnings. So exactly what Tracy is saying, if people don't have the ability to eventually get good deals, people get good deals in my room. I know we were talking about this a little bit. Tony was talking like, oh, it's hard to get good deals, but they happen. And there's entire stretches that it happens in my room. And if it didn't happen, when people weren't paying attention, stuff pops off at $1 with free shipping. If that didn't happen, you were correct. There'd be this like balancing, there'd be this ebb and flow that would start happening where people would stop coming in and the values would start dropping. You need that mix. You need the opportunities, and the actual opportunities have to be realized. That actually has to happen in order for the leverageable aspects to be taken advantage of.
And
Can
you
we
say it all the
answer-
time, Jeremy. Oh,
I'm sorry. Could we answer Miranda's question? Can somebody answer Miranda's? I can, but I was going to stop talking, let somebody else talk for a while. Because I think it's a good question, because this is what we hear all the
oh,
time.
you can't even see it.
So
I
it
was waiting
says
for Jeremy to answer it.
basically, if I buy an item for $20 and I'm new and I have a low audience and it sells for $1, I can't wrap my head around losing money on an item. I know I have
You
my
can't.
answer. It's probably similar, but I'm going to let you guys answer this one.
Who's in?
Whoever.
Outside of what I already said? Go ahead, Lysandra.
I
You
will
go
start
with
simple. It's all about the averages of everything that's sold in your show. So maybe you did lose money on 3 or 4 items that you sold in your show, but how many items did you make money on? And as Jeremy was just talking about, those 3 or 4 items that you might have lost money on were your loss leaders, right? It creates excitement and brings people into your show to eventually build it up even more 3, 4, 10, 20 shows down the road. Almost every retail establishment out there, whether brick and mortar, online, whatnot, uses loss leaders to get people in the door.
So I'm going to go over one little principle that I have on here, and I talked about it earlier, the house money effect. And these are the things you have to understand to realize that this is happening, and understanding them helps you get through these mental blocks. The house money effect comes from the gambling world. Okay. So that is, in short, you win money. So people are willing to gamble that money because they call it the house money. And if you're selling something and you paid $30 for it and you think it's worth $50, and the general perception is that it's worth $50 and it sells for $10 and you lost $10, that's a huge leverageable attribute for future sales in that exact show, and even in future shows where the person views that as house money, a $40 or $50 available allotment of funds that they'll more than be willing to spend in some capacity during that sale. And even if they're not willing to spend it, they're willing to bid it up. That's the other attribute people don't understand. Just because they might not be the ones buying and using all, they are very frequently the people that are willing to bid the items up, thereby increasing your overall valuations of the items you're selling throughout the duration of your show. That's just one attribute of potentially losing some money on something that if you pay $20 and you know you lost that much money, a lot of people in the other room, in your room, is going to be in that same understanding. At least 2, 3, 4 people. If you have 10, I would, I don't know what the percentage is of how many people you have, but there's going to be other people in there. And at the very least, the person that got it knows they got a screaming deal.
Yeah.
And that's going to kick in. That, again, that's just one attribute. And these are the things, like I said, between that and understanding that it's a loss leader, which is something where we all know you lose money up front, but it leads in the future to future profits in the end. But it's also a dynamic that you can capitalize on amongst the entire room by praising how much of a great deal they got. And this is the trap I got into with the free shipping attribute, where things weren't bringing what I wanted and I was doing free shipping, and it starts becoming a mental toll on you. And then they can hear the inflection in your voice that you're begging essentially for more profits, for more money. Yeah. And then other negative attributes start getting firing, and it becomes a downward spiral, a self-fulfilling prophecy towards backwardation in values. But if you can praise it and everyone appreciates it, it just compounds upwards for you across the board on many key attributes. Brand, like I said, brand buy-in, per item valuations, so on and so forth.
And then I'm just going to add on that. Yeah, I'm going to add on to that really quick. If you're, and I'm assuming you're kind of new because it just by the questions you're asking. If you're sourcing and an item costs $20, that's probably not an item you're going to start at $1 as a brand new person. When I'm sourcing, one of the questions I always ask myself is, I know I'm going to start this at $1. So I'm looking at the price that I'm about to pay, and I say, do I reasonably expect the people in my room to bid this up in order for me to make a profit? So if it's a $10 item I'm buying, do I expect it to go for 15 or more, or upwards of 20? It's a yes or no. And if it's a no, the item goes back. So it starts when you're sourcing. So you have to source with what your starting price is in mind, and you can do it on an item basis or on a huge, big lot or big bulk buy purchase. If it's an item that's $20, like Jeremy was saying, this isn't an all or nothing. Maybe that's not the item. Maybe try going a little items that you're paying a little bit less for, but still have some value in there to get that ball rolling before you start your big, higher end items on it too.
And I'm going to put in a little caveat that I think if you were bringing quality products, you can have higher start prices. There are many successful shows with hundreds of people in them at $3 starts.
Mm-hmm.
There is 3 to me isn't high.
But $3
that's still
and
low.
dollar are
That's
basically
still low.
the same thing, though, right?
Yeah.
And you talk about her all the time, Tracy. There's a very
Mm-hmm.
successful jewelry seller that does $10 starts. Now, these items she brings are several $100s in value, but there is a market there. It's all about how fast you want to grow. Or go ahead.
But the key is low and even. So you're saying three. You're not
Yeah,
Right.
3, 10, 8. It's low and
correct.
even. As low as you are comfortable going is the language I've adopted to be more inclusive of everybody, because I know we're not all on dollar start page. So as
Right.
low and even as you can go is the concept here. We all happen to agree that's $1.
Yeah, and I would say that comparatively speaking, starting something at $10 where the average sales price is $200 and $300, I think that starting at $10
Low.
is irrelevant to the entirety of the
It is.
per
It is.
per.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I wouldn't see why you wouldn't start at $1 because of the other attributes of auction theory that I subscribe to and see the results of. There'd be no reason not to start things at $1 anyway, because you're not wasting that much time. If the thing's worth $300-400, you're going to blow through that in a fraction of a second and increase the endowment effect principles and
It,
momentum principles.
but it could also be that you don't want the dollar people in the room by
Keep the
starting at
riffraff out.
$10.
Yeah, but there's no what riffraff is in that show. No, because just you're going to
I'm
go in, you're going to see the items, and you know you're not getting it for $1,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
yes.
You know that's not going to happen.
Well,
So
it absolutely could. We know there's glitches. We know people sleep. We
yeah,
know.
so
Marble set.
Yeah, marbles. It
No, I
absolutely
mean,
could.
again, those are the exceptions, and who's coming into that room waiting for the odd opportunity of a
Yeah,
crash on whatnot's part, or
yeah,
somehow the seller gets colossally distracted and something crazy is going on that every bidder is distracted. I mean, that's happened to me where something really valuable sells for $1 or $6 because everyone's distracted by what's going on in the show. But those are so infrequent that your dollar riffraff is not a use case for not doing it, in my
yeah.
opinion. But that's, if they're being successful and that's what they want to do, that's fine and dandy. I just say any micro influencer that increases any small amount, especially when you're talking $300-400, that you could get somebody to buy in one additional bid on especially when you're getting up to those higher values.
Yeah.
Somebody that I should probably talk about the endowment effect so people know what I'm talking about. But that attribute kicking in creates one additional bid. When you get to those higher ones, you're talking about 25, 30, or even $50 for the next increment, which is a lot of extra money at the end of the day. So
I have another myth that it kind of goes into the story I wanted to tell earlier. So one of the other myths that I hear is I'm not a volume seller. I can't do dollar starts. So there's a myth out there that if you're not pulling out of pallets, or you're not doing a ton of jewelry, that there's no way you could do dollar starts. That I'm proof that you can do it. I am not a volume seller by any means, but I had to
no,
learn
that
that. I had to learn that, and Jeremy will remember this because I went to him and I'm like, I did everything we've talked about, and now I have no inventory. When I first started doing dollar starts free shipping, I had totes and totes and totes of inventory, and I blew through it within about 2 months. I was out of inventory. I mean, when I say out, I had nothing left. One of the things that are going to happen when you do dollar starts and free shipping is your sell through rate is going to go from 30-40% to 100% almost immediately. So everything is going to go out the door. And I had to step back and stop for a while and say, okay, I'm not a volume. I took that thought process because I believed that myth that I had to sell a whole lot of stuff in order to do it at dollar starts and free shipping. And I had to stop and step back and say, okay, how can I make this work being niche, being curated shows? And that's where I came to the conclusion of I don't need 3, 4, 500 items in a show. I can do it with 60 to 80 high quality items. Those get bid up. That covers the free shipping cost because the bids are higher. The dollar start is the no barrier to entry. So people get that bid rolling, which then goes into the endowment effect and phantom ownership and everything else that Jeremy will probably expand a little bit more on. So you don't have to be volume. You can be niche. You just have to apply the concepts in a way that fits your business.
And this is directed towards Miranda because she's asking it. I think we'll all agree that you need data to know if dollar starts and or free shipping are actually being beneficial to you. I know that
Yes.
I've never recommended dollar starts and free or reduced shipping from the get go, right out the gate.
No, you should never
No.
do that. You should
No.
always, and I'll expand on that in a little bit. But what Tracy was talking about, I think the problem that people have with that myth that you were talking about is they're associating that dollar start with things are going to sell for cheap. So in order to make money with low priced items, you have to be a volume seller. I think that's where that comes from.
Probably.
I think so too.
So, like Tracy pointed out, that's 100% a myth, and you can break that. You don't need to subscribe to that perspective. So, now I got off the train of thought. What were you talking about after that?
I'm sorry.
What were we talking about after there was somebody that we were talking
Oh,
about?
someone asked, Marina asked, I can try dollar starts, but free shipping too? I might stroke out.
Oh yeah, they're not just jumping into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all incremental steps, and you don't do it until you, like Lysandra was saying, you have to have your data. And you can't have the data of whether it's working until you do it without dollar starts and do it without free shipping. You have to step your way into it.
You need a
Start.
baseline.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the one thing I think we'll all recommend is that first step is creating and Tracy talked about this earlier, a start price that's uniform across the board.
Correct.
You want that start price to be the same, and then as close to the same as far as shipping goes, and then eventually start working your way down from, maybe if you want to adopt full shipping because it scares you to do even max shipping, you start figuring out an average base price you can use for everything, whether that's $10, $5, $3, that makes you comfortable. And then wherever you decide to start, then you have your numbers, and then you can start working down to see what type of advantages you're gaining as a result of stepping those down. Same thing with the shipping. You can go to max shipping, and then you can reduce the max shipping, and you can then try free shipping. And I'm always a big advocate of, before you do anything and adopt it, try it as an event-based element to see what the potential is behind it.
Right.
One thing that you guys have not mentioned is that they're looking at it as a single item. And if you're looking at that loss of a single item and you get stuck on that mindset, it's a lot harder to get out of that mindset.
I did mention about
Yeah.
it's about the average of everything in your show earlier, but I didn't expand on it or anything like that. I think I kind of went into loss leaders more so.
Yeah.
And I will say that Tony and I started with dollar starts, but it was easy for us to take that leap starting on Whatnot because we were already into profit on that product. So we weren't gambling with our money, so to say. We were gambling with our time. I will say the downfall of doing that is then one, and Tracy talks about this a lot, is hyper growth and the problems that caused, because it really the cracks in our business that were just little cracks all of a sudden became big crevices, and it really exposed that. But we were already built up so big that it was hard to patch it, really. And then a lot of the principles that Jeremy talks about, right? We didn't know any of that going into Whatnot with dollar starts, and so we were just throwing things in front of the screen saying, here, this is $1, buy it. And there was no thinking behind it on how to bring up the average order value with, and I'm going to say it wrong, I always do.
I'm not gonna help her.
She does too.
I'm not gonna help her.
Say it.
Nope.
Say it.
Arbitrary coherence.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I always think of glue for some reason. I want to call it adhesion.
She does.
Well, that's a good mental. It's actually a good mental perspective, because that's what you're doing. You're gluing two principles together in an arbitrary coherence. That's
Yeah.
not a bad. It's not a bad thing to think of it that way. But That's a topic for another day. Oh, I know what day that might be. So
We answered this question, but should a new seller run everything for $1 in their first show? No, all of us agreed. No, you need your data. I think all of us have said that. So I just wanted to answer that really quick. So keep going.
Wait. How much did you pay for the product?
I still don't think a brand new seller should start at dollar
I
starts.
just
Why not?
no, because that's the whole reason why I said everything I just said.
I know.
Because there are detriments to starting at $1 from your very first show, in my opinion. And
yeah, the detriments
you
are
and
not
I are living
understanding.
proof of that.
Yeah. But there's also here's my other
Switch
chatting or the other talking point is what Tracy was talking about earlier about understanding it doesn't have to be a volume play. So is if you can control your inventory aspect, keep that in check, and decide to climb build from a dollar start if you're selling items that are nothing but profit, kind of like what you were saying to begin with. Sounds like most of your problems came from playing the volume field with that dollar start at the same time. So I would say it's probably more of a dollar start, low shipping, and getting yourself into trouble by selling more than you can handle dealing with on the back end.
I'm going to
So
answer Miranda's. Sorry.
if you control that inventory principle, which it sounds like where people get hung up, I mean, that's what happened to Tracy as well. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. That's where you ended up getting that problem with the dollar start attribute, but the success was still there.
Oh, yeah, the success was there. I want to answer Miranda's question. What data do we need to look at before starting? Miranda, if you're asking that question, first of all, you should be looking at your financials. You should be able to have a set of financial statements of profit and loss. But there's two numbers in particular that I would highly recommend that you should know before you start dollar starts. Your average order value and your acquisition cost. What's the spread between the two? What is your average order value? What's the average your items are selling for? What is the average that you're buying your products for? If you don't already have a margin between those two, you need to step back and figure out how to get a margin first and then start to ease in to using these tools. So that's from my perspective. There may be other points that Tony, Lysandra, Jeremy would look at, but right off the bat, those are two things that I would highly consider.
No, they're 100% the two main ones that you're going to use as a metric of whether the shift is increasing or decreasing. The only thing I would say is don't abandon it if you don't see it right away, because most of the inventory that we sell is not static inventory, meaning you're not ordering the same thing over and over again. So to get a broad picture of the effectiveness, and there's other elements too, but just from that principle alone, you have to give it time. You have to not just look at, one show's average order value, but you have to kind of look at a longer time frame and then give whatever time frame you're looking at for your average order value almost the equal time frame. So if you go back, a month or 2 months or 3 months with X amount of shows, X amount of orders, I'd be looking at that too, in order to have a more accurate idea of whether you're increasing and there's no anomalies in there. Like you end up, having a show where it was a lot of good stuff and you're doing dollar starts, you just happen to come across a really good deal, that's going to throw your numbers off and you're not going to have an accurate assessment. So you have to give it some longevity, or the opposite could happen where you had a really bad week of sourcing and you're trying to sell it and the value's not there. So you got other questions?
Well, let me just throw something out here. Well, I said just a minute ago, why wouldn't you start $1 for your first show? Number one, we already know Whatnot does that promoting of your first show, right? So if your capital or what you spent to purchase the goods can withstand it and give it a shot, the first show is probably a good one because you're not spending money to do promotion or anything like that. The problem then comes on show 2, 3, and 4 when you're not being promoted and you're not getting as many people in your room, or maybe you were if you started for $1. That's why I said, why couldn't you do it from your first show? Just that was my thought process behind that immediate question.
I personally don't think you can't do it. It just takes the right mentality, and I don't think there's a lot of people that have that mental
No.
perspective to do it.
It's hard. I mean, it was hard for us. It was hard for me.
It's still hard for you though.
Yeah.
And it's less hard, but yes.
So
Can,
I don't think it's just the right type of person. Like I can sit here and say I started a second, a secret stream and did it, but I had full confidence and understanding of all the principles and I wasn't uncomfortable. And that's the mental state
Yeah.
that causes that downward spiral that I was talking about that still affects me till, to this day. And I have to pull myself out of it. That's just human behavior. Like, if I'm going through a stretch of items and they're not bringing what I was hoping they would bring, and I also am doing free shipping, I don't care who you are, you're going to potentially be affected by it. It's your job to understand these principles so you can go back to them in your head and go, okay, I don't need to allow this to affect me that way, and I can be positive about it, knowing that there's a payoff in the end to this, and shift gears in your mental attitude. That's again not something that comes overnight. So if you're starting out that way, I believe you'd have to have had some type of experience in sales or understanding of loss leaders and, just the overall principle that, of marketing and being able to allot things to different expenses, understanding that it pays off, in the back end or in the long term.
and I think you point out a good challenge that we've all faced and how to overcome that with doing dollar starts is not comping things, not researching things. If you
Mm-mm.
have that anchored in your head, I purposely for my big Saturday shows where I'm bringing a higher quality, higher value items, I purposely try not to look at prices. If I do research, it's to get a maker's name or some fact, some interesting piece of information that I could talk about during the show. But I am trying as hard as I can not to look at prices. I don't want to know what it's going to go for because that does trip me up, like you're saying. Then it gets in my head, and if I don't see the average order value, on the screen high enough when that item sells, you get start feeling a certain way about it. So that is a challenge of this. It's not all roses when doing it is it. You could put $1 on there, and there's a lot of benefits, and there's a lot of mental clutter that you free yourself from when you do dollar starts. A lot of decision fatigue that you don't have by doing dollar starts, but you also do have the challenges of you've got to shield yourself from doing the comps and thinking about each individual value.
Thank
So
goodness you didn't look up the blue flow today.
the flow blur. So I'm curious, did we hit all the major myths that are out there floating around as far as dollar starts and or free shipping? I mean, mostly dollar starts we're talking about. We didn't even get in, I guess, the potential myths as far as free shipping, if there is even any out
The
there.
only thing I get
Yeah.
with free shipping is how can you possibly make money?
Yeah, I get that too. Well, one we didn't touch on with dollar starts, but I think this goes for both, is I don't have enough people. We said the Field of Dreams thing, we said they will come. But what we didn't talk about is the algorithm, the activity of a dollar start, the bidding that results from a dollar start creates the activity in your room, which pushes you on the algorithm, which brings more people into your room. So it's this cycle that you're like kickstarting it to get more people by doing the dollar start in the first place. So it's that people are always looking at it backwards.
Yeah. The other attribute is the actual human attribute of when you're doing dollar starts, when people come into your room, they're going to stay. They're going to stay for a while. They're going to stay longer, and you're going to increase the likelihood of them engaging primarily through bidding. And we all know that that's ultimately what you're after. And again, that's going to compound what Tracy's talking about with the algorithm. That's what they want to see. So I don't know if Tracy wanted to go further into that, but I see Tracy had something else to take care of.
She just had to run for a brief break. She'll be right
So
back.
I agree with Tracy that the mentality is wrong, that I don't have enough people in my room to do dollar starts. I fully believe that, in the beginning, you're going to take more lickings, so to say, on products. And that's just kind of the cost to build the room and jumpstart that algorithm and get more people in there. But it builds fairly fast. If you're bringing quality product, you got a good attitude, and you're doing dollar starts, it builds pretty fast.
Yeah. My suggestion to anybody that wants to try dollar starts and they only have a small room is allot a certain amount of money, consider it marketing money, to do an entire show with dollar starts, knowing that you have your mindset. This is a loss. Okay, whatever your tolerance level for that, whatever that may be, and realize you're also offsetting the time value that you have to your business, like Tracy was talking about earlier, about all the times when you're trying to get max value out of items, how much you waste and end up selling it just to get your money back, so on and so forth. But go in and do that experiment for yourself. Just run things at $1. We all understand, and I think one of the things that we probably should point out you should look at is the metric of how many people came in your room. They still show that, right?
Yeah.
You can still see how many people came in your room through the duration of your show. Your job, that's going to be astronomically higher than your actual top room count. So your job is to capture those people as they're coming in. And the main way to capture them is going to be doing things like dollar starts, providing the opportunity for deals. And just run things at $1, knowing that whatever losses you take are your jump start to your business, marketing expenses, loss leaders, however you want to look at it. Go do some research on those elements to running a business, or even if you don't want to view it as a business but as a side hustle, those principles still apply. You're trying to be successful and make money on here, so these principles are foundational in doing that on live streaming, platforms, whether that's eBay, whatnot, knickknack, whatever they are. These principles apply across the board, and they all act the same way. People are coming in and leaving on a regular basis. Your job is to catch those. The easiest way to catch them is the first thing that they're going to notice, and that's you're selling things at $1. And if you have free shipping, that's all that much more compounding attribute of, I'm going to stay here and see what this is going to be worth my time to sit here. And think about it. If you go into a room and there's only 10 people in there and they're starting things at $1 with reduced shipping, are you more likely going to stay because you think you're going to get what? You think you're going to get a deal, an opportunity. So just the natural progression of the room count going up is going to happen just on that metric alone. And it's going to keep increasing as the deals keep happening until there's some type of leveling that happens. And that's what you're ultimately looking for. And then the people, once they start bidding, they're going to stay longer. Like I said before, the one of the behavioral principles is house money. So the people that were in early, bought cheap, are going to stay and spend more and stick around for a longer period of time, increasing bidding, increasing buying, and increasing the stick-to-itiveness overall. The house money effect is huge. And the other effect of people getting deals, if you're watching other people getting deals, it's going to increase your desire and likelihood to jump in. And if you go, I did a little research on the effects of people getting in early. The faster somebody gets into an auction, meaning that they're willing to bid, the longer they're going to stay at an auction, and obviously the more money they spend over a longer period of time. And what's the fastest way you're going to get somebody to engage monetarily in your sale?
$1
Dollar starts and or free shipping, or heavily reduced shipping. So, and momentum effect is contagious as well. You see bidding going up faster as a result of dollar starts, and the people that are watching the bidding go up faster increases the excitement factor just by watching that. And then the momentum is contagious, thereby increasing again the environment that you're providing, and allowing for more people to get excited and wanting to stay in your room for a longer period of time and bid. I don't want to keep talking, because if I do, I'm going to take up the rest of the time. So,
The whole hour.
I got a list
Okay.
of notes here. So
I have a question for you. I'm stealing Lysandra's spotlight for a second to ask a question.
Uh-oh.
I know what I would do. I'm curious what advice would all of you give if somebody asked you, "What do I do first? Free shipping or dollar starts? I can't do both." What do you tell them to
Dollar starts.
$1 starts.
I would do dollar starts too, because it's the
Less
trademark.
expensive.
Well, it's the trademark under everyone. There's more saturated acceptance of the dollar starts to value and whatnot than the free shipping,
Yes.
because not as many people are doing free shipping, but way more people are doing dollar starts. So you'd fit into the mold of acceptance of this is where I'm getting a deal.
Yeah.
I agree. I would say the same thing.
I think you get less value on free shipping with an item starting at $25 than you do with a dollar start with your whatever you're doing for shipping.
Mm-hmm. I agree. All right, free shipping. Do we want to talk a little more about the free shipping? I think we've really nailed down a lot of dollar start information.
I would like Tony to ask or answer Forgotten Memories question.
Oh dear God, what is the question? Hi Zach.
Would you guys try free shipping on jewelry again?
At some point, we probably will.
The focus is increasing the average order value first.
Yes, as our average order value gets better, then that is more likely a scenario for us. I watched your show last night.
It was good.
It was good. But
What are you guys doing right now? What's your start
$3.99.
$3.99
is your start price?
Oh, a
Oh
dollar.
no. The dollars start. Oh, they were asking about free shipping on the
Free
jewel.
shipping.
Okay,
Yeah,
I thought
they're
they were
asking.
asking dollar starts. Okay, I got you.
No.
Well, I'm going to throw this out there though. We're going to be talking about free shipping now. My shipping cost is going up because of the change.
Absolutely.
Mine's
Because
gone
I
down.
deal in the smaller, huh?
Mine's gone down.
Yeah. So that's what's funny about this is the larger item sales. The shipping has, if you do it strategically right, it has gone down. My shipping has gone up because those smaller prices now have that scale price instead of like from 1 ounce all the way up to 14 or 15 ounces, whatever it was the same for something. And now I'm getting these like 40 and 50 and 60 cent charges.
Yep.
But there's no cheaper start.
No.
all of it's a little higher. So my cost to the shows, I would say, has increased. I would say on average now, if it stays the same, probably about $75 per show.
Well, that's not bad.
Well, no, you got to realize it's only like a 50 cent average charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I'm doing, 100 orders and then some I do more, and then some things cost a little more because it's a bigger item that I sold, that kind of stuff. And every now and then, if somebody buys a large quantity of items and gets me over that $16 threshold, and
Yeah.
it's cheaper than the 9 something that would have been charged, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's still
offsets
$75 every day, 5 days a week.
And I don't think Tracy's going to be shipping furniture much anymore.
No.
Oh, dear Lord.
Scuba Stevio asked a good question, which Millicent's kind of followed up. So Scuba Stevio says, you do free shipping on small items. What do you recommend for people that do heavier items? Obviously, max shipping. Having done vintage free shipping for 6 months straight and now doing it on Tuesdays, you have to pay attention to the items that you're putting in your show. You have to have a strategic mix. Now, before this whatnot shipping change, for me, that strategic mix meant I can do 5 to 6 larger items, platters, heavier in weight items, things that are a little bit oversized, and be okay and not have it hurt me because I was doing 60 of a smaller size item and it balanced out. Since the shipping change, I've drastically reduced that where I can do 1, possibly 2 oversized items, and that's it. So it's being very strategic on the items that you're bringing.
I think the big strategy to me is not as much weight as it is the dimensional weight
Yeah,
attributes.
it's
Now,
the dimensions.
No,
that's
weight's
where it's
getting me
really
though
getting
too. Because I'll keep it in the box size, and I just this past weekend I had one customer 3 boxes. Each box alone was $18. I separated that out into 5 different boxes, kept it under $5, and I kept that cost down to like $22 total for all of them. So like once I split everything out. So it's the weight too, for at least for vintage decor. It's once I hit about 8 pounds, it becomes unrealistic to ship that way.
Have you looked at your Friday shows yet, Jeremy?
Have I? Yeah, but mine's skewed because I'm in beta.
Oh, that's
So
right.
what's happening to
You're one
Tracy
of
is
the
not going to
lucky
happen. I
ones.
am one of the lucky ones.
I say that with the most animosity.
But the good thing is it's gonna have to roll out to everybody
It
when they
has
did it
to.
when they did this shipping. And if anybody's wondering, I'm in a UPS beta program and whatnot, so I have UPS to offset my larger expense costs, like what Tracy's getting hit with. I'm not getting hit with those prices because
Yeah.
the weight itself I can offset by going to UPS, but the dimensional weight attributes are crazy. Now, here's what's really interesting. If we're going to talk about this a little bit, there's a little bit of a side conversation. There's times that I have to expand the dimensions to change it over to UPS, and then it makes it cheaper
Yes.
Yep, that makes
than
sense.
if I use which is my little gripe. Whatnot just needs to allow us to have access to it for whatever, because it would be cheaper on because their system for UPS right now, it doesn't default to the cheapest. They have this weird metric that, oh, if it hits this amount of size, then and only
And it
then do
goes
we
to
use
UPS.
UPS, instead of giving us UPS pricing for any weight to drop it to the lowest price.
Sure.
So, have you seen any shipping chargebacks from UPS for having a
No, we
larger
don't ship that.
dimensions in
We
there?
don't end up shipping that much UPS. You got to realize that, the only
Gotcha.
time that happens is on Friday. And then our last Friday sale was stuffed animals. So we're not going to be really using huge boxes and stuff. So we haven't really had an opportunity to feel it all out and really get an idea. The jewelry shows we do several a week. So we got, I got my number pretty quickly of what the additional costs were going to be. But the Friday show, no.
There's an interesting little glitch on eBay right now where 4 pounds costs less money to ship than 2 pounds.
2 pounds.
It's dramatically less.
Sorry.
It's just weird. I know we're mainly whatnot here, but
We're anything here. That was interesting.
Yeah.
That was the thing. But yeah, a couple of days ago, I was shipping an eBay package, and it defaulted from the listing to 2 pounds, but it actually weighed 3 pounds, and 2 pounds cost $7.22, I think it was, to ship. The 3 pounds cost $5.63, which I thought was
make sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hello. I just made every package 3 pounds. Let's go. Anyway.
Yeah, weird stuff like that happened on other platforms. There was times on when I was selling on Facebook Marketplace, the UPS rates for down to a pound or something like that was cheaper than the post office for some reason. To be able to go, they must have had some crazy contract with them. So, but I don't I think we still need to talk a lot about the prospect of free shipping, right?
I have
We
some
mostly
thoughts.
talked about.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
have some
so
thoughts on free shipping that there's some of the things that you should consider if you're going to free shipping is what is the outcome, like when is free shipping good and when is free shipping not good, because it's not. I don't think free shipping across the board is right if your whole business model isn't set up to be that way. So like Jeremy, you've designed your business to accommodate and use free shipping. When I decided to do free shipping, I wasn't going to change what I'm selling. I'm still in vintage decor. I'm not going to minis. I want to bring the same stuff that my customers know me to bring. So I think you then have to take a different approach on when is it right to use it and when is it not. If I'm doing a short show, if I'm only going to sell 5 or 10 things, if I'm doing a chat and sell, I'm not doing free shipping. I'm going to get hit hard on that versus if I'm doing 80 items, I can do free shipping then, because then we're having customers buying multiple items. I'm putting more than one item in a box. It's not, $8 per item. Raid trains, probably not when I have a very short amount of time. Not the time to do free shipping. So I think you have to be very strategic with your free shipping and think about the show you're doing, the number of items you're selling, and obviously the mix of the items that you're selling.
Yeah, I think when we were doing free shipping, we stopped doing free shipping on the raid trains, I think after 2 or 3 of them.
Yep.
No way. Unless you're doing it as a marketing option, you've got a huge profit margin in there anyway.
So Forgotten Memories, I do not. My higher quality I do $4.50 shipping on my higher quality, because those are my Saturday shows, and the focus on that is quality. Low starts, high quality, higher average order value. For my free shipping, I am more focused on size. than I am on the
But
quality of item.
wouldn't you get more value out of free shipping if you were putting it on your higher quality items?
I would, but then I
And I
would
mean,
also be more conscientious of the size, which I don't want to do. Then it would limit me. Then I have to look at quality and size on free shipping where I just want quality. If I have a nice heavy piece of glass and I know I can get a good amount for it, I don't want to worry that it weighs 6 pounds. So that's
or
why I'm not
furniture.
doing it. Or my furniture.
So
Yeah.
you know, here's another unfortunate attribute of the way these live stream selling apps predominantly work is the free shipping is not item by item, it's show based, and they need to change that, just like pickup.
Yes.
Like if you could do something like that, Tracy, then you would be able to maximize all attributes. You'd be able to run
Mm-hmm.
free shipping predominantly on everything, and then make the exception for the the size.
Yes.
And like I was saying earlier, as long as everyone understood and you were making that abundantly clear.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention that if the show is going well enough, there's nothing saying you wouldn't pull the trigger and go, okay, this is doing extremely well. You look at your numbers and go, let's run this item free shipping. I don't care if it costs me $60
Mm-hmm.
to ship it because
Yeah.
we're knocking it out of the park. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Cross my fingers that someday that becomes the reality.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not, unfortunately.
I would love if they did that because it does make me think. I mean, it really makes me think of what's my final, like, what's the goal here in this show? What am I doing here? Now, what's my goal? What decisions am I making to achieve that goal based on shipping and price?
Yeah, it, all the attributes that are of value to doing free shipping, if they did it that way, could be capitalized by everybody: new sellers,
Mm-hmm.
experienced sellers, mid-tier, everybody up through the entire scale, because they could decide to create the momentum. Like, hey, maybe will play around with it, and I'll do $10 starts in free shipping and see how it goes, and I can change it midstream if it doesn't work. You could decide, like in Tracy's situation, doing it on a few key items, which obviously would make sense to everybody. Like, hey, this thing's gargantuan. I got to charge some shipping for it. And they don't. But again, I'm crossing my fingers, hoping someday. Someday.
Well,
So,
Sandra, there's
what
a
are
good
some of the
question.
myths? Oh, okay. Go ahead with the question.
What?
I said
Somebody
there's
said
a
something
good
about a
question.
question.
Yeah, I thought you might
Oh,
want to answer that one. I think I've
Who?
heard you
Who
talk
has the
about.
question?
Scuba Stevio says, "Do you ever feel if you give free shipping all the time, do you lose the effect of free shipping? If so, how do you change that?"
Um,
That's Jeremy. Sure.
there's certain attributes that you definitely lose. Uh, I have
Yes.
come to find out that you hit you have that upward momentum. It plateaus. It starts coming down, but then there's a curve down at that bottom, and it starts going up, and it creates a elongated, slower, systematic rise to your valuations. And why that happens, I don't think it's a matter of reselling. I think it's the long term attributes of the brand buy in and the value that you are providing to the people being actualized over the longer time horizon. So it's a stick to itiveness on your part to capitalize on it. It's just like looking at a long term loss leader, is what's going on. You're constantly giving that to people, so the repeat give back keeps coming back to you, and it just compounds. So you're going to get that big spike because it's new, it's fresh, it's something different you didn't do. You basically created an event out of it by offering something you didn't before. So comparatively speaking, it's going to give you a big boost, and then that's going to come down, and then the long term aspects start taking effect. So it's diligence, strong backbone, and a willingness to adopt it for a longer period of time to see those results. And that's what I did. I stuck to it. At first, I thought it was all about, and you guys remember my chat shows. I was like, you just have to keep saying it. But that's not the reality of the situation. You don't have to resell it. It's a attribute that compounds the other values. And then that's the other focus you start doing, is realizing that free shipping is a compounding attribute to everything else you're doing. So increase what you're doing otherwise, and then the free shipping helps compound that value. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Like whatever environment you're creating, the products you're bringing, you start getting to the point where you can bring higher valued products, then the free shipping increases that exponentially on top of what it would have otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you go with it. Hopefully that answered your question, Scuba. But I know it's a hard thing to just, I'm going to lock in and do this, and I'm going to stick with it. Especially when you see the excitement, and then you start to go the other way. You're just
Yeah.
like, okay, now it's turned into a bunch of red ink. I don't think this is a good idea. And I've been up and down. I started, to put things, in totality of perspective. When I first started trying free shipping, I was against it. I did chat shows talking about my theories
Oh, I
as to why
remember.
I don't think it's going to work. I'm like, the comparative principles of free shipping to other platforms. And I was making the same mistake everybody else was doing. I'm comparing it to a pre-existing attribute of sales that is not the same as what you can leverage in live stream selling. And I was looking at it completely wrong. Once I realized I was looking at it wrong, I adopted it again, went at it with a different mental attitude, turned into what felt positive, and then I started feeling that, and I'm just like, I started seeing the downward trajectory, and I'm like, I started thinking about that event factor principle. I'm like, let's just hold on to this for another several months and see what happens. And I saw the tide turn, and it's just been a self-fulfilling prophecy ever since for me, where I don't want to abandon it to the point where I've strategically changed my business to accommodate for it.
Yeah. And I'll just throw out there, Scuba, when we did free shipping, we experienced that high for the first couple of months, and then it started coming back down into the average order value was the same as what it was before the free shipping start. And we can attribute it to
Stale inventory.
we can attribute it to the products still being the same stuff run over and over. We can attribute it to Tony not selling free shipping better after 2 or 3 months.
I sold the crap out of that free
I know
shipping.
we did.
I sold
I
the
don't,
crap
and
out of
that's
that
what I'm
free
saying.
shipping.
I don't think it's a matter of reselling the product, the free shipping. It's the matter of increasing the value of the experience, and the free shipping compounds that value.
Yeah.
So
See, now
again,
I
it's a
never saw a
tool.
decline on free shipping. Saw a plateau. I never saw a
Mhm.
decline. I did see the instant like spike right off the bat, but then it plateaued and I can never get out of the plateau. But I didn't see my average order go down. It just, I couldn't change it for anything. And then I had to pull
If I
back and
would have had,
reassess and come back at it again. But
If I would
if
have
we
had
would have
the
had,
increase and then just a plateau, I would have kept free
we
shipping on
never
it.
would have stopped.
Miranda, I just want to answer your question really quick. Yes, you can do exactly what you're talking about. Most of us do have different types of shows like that. So 100% you are on, like, that's the right train of thought that you're on there. Forgotten Memories has a question for I Love Discounts and Green 13.
So for a bad show or one that we're going to take a loss on, so how do you, I know Tracy's answer, how do the other two channels handle a bad show or one that you may take a loss on? Tony and I have never actually, a main show, not Raid Train, but Tony and I have never actually had an actual loss on a show. We've had a few on a Raid Trains, and as Tony has asked to go into more Raid Trains recently,
Yes.
there has been some scary ones where we're like, we just had to make it our own. That's not to say we haven't had bad shows. We've had a ton of them, and Tony doesn't so much, but I try to go back and rewatch at least parts of the show where I think things could have went sour and try to analyze what we could have done better in that instant. What is Tracy's answer to, for the record? Recorded episode.
I'll go last.
Am I up? Are you done, or did you have some more stuff you want to
Do you
elaborate?
have anything to add to that, Tony?
Nope. You're good.
Okay.
Okay. I look at things as an aggregate. Now, I also look at things as what I talked about as far as advertising, marketing, loss leaders, and all that kind of attributed factors when I'm selling something. And I'll give you, for instance, when I decided to get into the watch community, which I question myself from time to time whether or not I should have or wanted to.
You seem like you never,
Uh,
you're just not having fun and watch shows.
uh, so my first, I did a watch show, dabbled in it, had some stuff, decided to do it. It did okay. So I was like, all right, this is a new opportunity. Watches just kind of started to get some traction, and there was a void in in my opinion, on whatnot for watches, in vintage watches especially, because there was, you know, nothing really going on. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna have a bang up watch show. My first three dedicated watch shows where I dropped some money probably equated to almost $25,000 in losses. That was my buy-in expense to get
That's
into the
ugly.
watch show.
Out of 3 shows?
Yes. You gotta understand, I was running watches to get my kickstart in the
Yeah.
watch community
I get
right
that.
out of the gate. I was doing dollar starts, free shipping,
With a blood of guts.
and I was running like stupid, like, I mean, and that's with my watches bringing five, 600, hundred, 1,000, 2,000, $3,000 watches. So they were paying, but they were paying nowhere near what obviously I paid for it. So I took
But
colossal losses. However, has that turned into a profitable opportunity to for me? Absolutely. To the point where I still do watch shows. And like you said, I don't seem like I'm enjoying them, but I enjoy the profit that comes with them
yeah,
at this particular point
Well,
in time.
never mind.
I mean, m- let's circle back to that. Not everybody can afford to lose $8,000 for the first 3 shows as a marketing expense or a growth
8,000?
expense. Well, you said 25,000 over 3 shows.
Yeah.
It's
You
about,
see, at 8,000 for over 3 shows. It was
yeah.
25 over 3 shows.
Not everybody out here listening
That was
can even fathom that kind of loss over 3 shows.
No,
those were some expensive billboards.
Yes, they were.
Listen, listen. I'm just talking scalability, okay? That's
Correct.
our scale. That's where we were at. And someone asked how we view it. The view, the perspective. I'm just letting you know that that's how you treat it. And I just wanted to make sure that you understood that that's a heavy. That's not like a light hit for us. I mean, we have lots of volume, but that's how I viewed it. I understood that that was a potential outcome, and I did it, stuck to it, and it became a profitable endeavor for me in the end. So, not to mention the opportunities from the sourcing side for buying those gave me a lot of buy into one of my main sources in order to leverage, in order to get other merchandise for other sales. So that again was another compounding effect. All you got to take all that into consideration, and the more you understand the run things from a business perspective and can account for that, those losses are not that it's just upfront costs in order to get things going. And when you go into a new category, you almost treat it like you're starting another business underneath the under your franchise or under your umbrella, more of a conglomerate type of attribute. And at that time, watches weren't ingrained in the jewelry category. They were two separate categories.
Miss Tracy.
So for me, a bad show where I take a loss on, it's twofold. So from a financial perspective, I usually don't let it hit me too hard, because I have goals for my show, goals for the week. My husband's over here going like, "What are you talking about?" But I have
Like, hey,
goals for the
hold
show,
on, man.
goals for the week, goals for the month. And normally, if it's one bad show, it outweighs it in the week's total. As long as I'm still hitting my goal for the week, I'm okay because I could far exceed on another show. So, um, overall, on that side, it's not bad. And then the other side of it, non financial for a bad show, to me, that's data. Why is it bad? It gives me something to improve upon. It gives me something to figure out. Was I off? Was my attitude off? Was my lighting off? Was my product not good? So it just gives me feedback if it is a bad show, whether it's a loss or just a show that it's off. So that's how I view it.
So I've got a little myth perception that we haven't talked about yet. I'm trying to think of how
With
I
free
can
shipping?
condense this. It's for dollar starts and or free shipping.
Okay,
It
because I
can
was
be
going to
for
say we
both.
didn't really address like the direct myths people talk about with free shipping, but yeah, shoot.
Are dollar starts and or free shipping creating buyer expectations that hurt the marketplace? In other words, are dollar start and or free shipping sellers hurting other sellers on the
Jeremy, are you destroying everybody's ability to grow?
I've heard it a lot. I've heard it a
yeah,
lot.
no, I got this one. I got this.
Oh, Tracy's
Oh,
gonna
okay.
take it. She's like, I'm gonna take the bull by the horns.
We're getting salty. Tracy's about to come out here. Because the people who are saying that I am hurting the app with my free shipping or my dollar starts are the same ones saying that they can't do it, that God forbid they should lose money that way. If you think it's so bad and you're losing money, why are you so concerned that I'm doing it then? Let me lose all the money that you say I'm losing. I'm obviously not a threat to you because the people who are saying, oh, you're driving it down, you're doing it wrong, are the same people who are saying, I can never devalue my items like that. I can never, that's just a loss of money. So they contradict themselves in with the statement. So that's my point of view on it, is I just don't think there's any validity in the question based on where you usually hear it coming from.
And my answer is the only place I'm devaluing their anything is in their head.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's it. Because the prices I get for stuff is just as much or more, occasionally less, but then the value to those lower prices compound to more value in the future. So how am I devaluing the app?
Yeah.
How am I devaluing their products if I'm getting the value out of my products? It doesn't make any sense.
It does not.
The dollar starts making it impossible for us little sellers. It
Yeah.
could be illegal.
Is that Bill?
Yeah.
That sounds like a Bill statement. Yeah.
Hello,
No,
Bill.
and don't get me. This is just a reaction based on their own personal fear
Yes.
of adopting these principles. They don't want to. They are people that are tied to previous selling styles, eBay, Amazon, Etsy, all those static listing styles where they're what they would do because this is their normal. This is where they grew up, as where their business models were based on, and they're trying to bring it here to or bring it to live stream selling. Over there, they could do the normal. They could comp. They could do like all these things that were foundationally easy for them, and they learned it. Now that knowledge has gone out the window because it's not the same here. And nobody wants to lose the value of the knowledge that they gained or the skill set that they think they had. And out of that fear, usually your reaction is kind of to bash it, to try to paint it negatively and say, you're hurting me. So who didn't elaborate on that? Anybody else have any feedback on that question?
I don't have any feelings about you. Do you, and I'll do me.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the other thing is, based on that statement, each room creates its own environment. That's the other beauty, is you have the opportunity to create your business within your experience that you provide, your environment that you provide. And if the people like that, they like it. How is what I'm doing in my room creating such a colossal disaster for you in your room? Okay. Look internally and try to figure out why. Don't look externally and blame your inability to succeed to the point that you're looking, or to get the prices you're looking, and blame it on other people. You're not going to find it there. And even if that were for some reason true, it's not changing, and you're going to have to accept, which is not true. But let's say for some reason that statement was true, it's still going to be there. It's not going anywhere, and you're going to have to figure out how to deal with it. Complaining about it and bashing it's not going to do it. Not going to fix it.
I mean, we could take the opposite approach, and I can say, all of you starting hens on the nest at $100 a piece are making the market crazy where it hurts me. I mean, we could take the exact same. I could do it the opposite way. It's you do. I love you do you, and I'm going to do me. Just
Who wants to buy those ugly things anyway?
Stop.
So
You
I
do.
have a
You want to buy as many as you can get for $25 or less. That's who wants to buy
That's
There you
oh, I
go.
would.
them.
Um, so I have a question. This is more of a personal question. One problem with let me get my tongue untied. One problem that Tony and I have with free shipping were the buyers that bought one item left. How do you counteract that?
That buy one item and that's it.
Yeah, with free shipping shows.
Aggregate valuations across the board. Like I still get plenty. Now I told you too. That slimmed down. That was also the longevity attribute of where the single item purchases started turning into 2 items, 3 items over an elongated time frame. And then whenever people were buying one item, they were very frequently first time buyers,
Mm-hmm.
which is beautiful. I'll sell things for a few dollars, lose 50 cents or so in order to get that first time buyer that eventually turns into repeat buyers and turns into the higher valuations. So the single item purchases also dwindled, just like and that's part of the reason why the value stayed. My profits started going up as a result of sticking to it for a longer period of time. And as things continued, my values got high enough that it didn't matter. Maybe I was making 50 cents or 60 cents on the item, but I wasn't really losing a whole heck of a lot of money. Because nothing was selling for $1. They were almost always selling for enough money to pay for the item, the shipping costs associated with the item.
That's what Zach was just talking about in the chat.
Or what's that?
We had 23 single item purchases, but higher quality items means things were bid up and outweighed them. And Zach, and that's why when you asked us about if we would ever look at free shipping again, our focus is on average order value first, and then we'll add in free shipping.
Yes.
You also can't discount the unknowns that happen. Like those people before they bought that one item, that probably wasn't the first item or the last item in that sale that they bid on, helping to push
Yeah.
prices up throughout the
Yeah.
course of your auction. So the value attributed to that across the board, I know it's unknown and you can't quantify it, but it's there.
It also
The person only got one, pushed multiple things to $5, $6, $7 and stopped there, and it got to $8, $9 because of their willingness to bid higher.
I think for you with the fact that you have a shipping department probably helps you separate yourself from that a little bit.
Oh, 100%.
When Tony and I were still shipping all of our own stuff back then, and I had to remove, like, Tony could not ship.
There we go.
What? You couldn't. If you shipped, then you were in a bad mood the rest of the day.
That's all the one item orders.
I mean,
No,
like,
not when
so
it-
mad, storming out of the warehouse mad.
You know what I found though? I've seen over the last few weeks an increase in the one item orders on my reduced shipping too. Not just free shipping. It's always existed for me on free shipping. But I've seen an increase on it on my 450 shipping. A lot higher numbers, like noticeably higher. Not that I've done and sat and done the calculations on it, but just in the course of shipping, I'm like, wow, this is more than I'm used to seeing.
Yeah.
Were those new buyers too?
A good mix. Yeah. I mean, I think probably a lot of them were, but yeah.
Yeah, if you're getting it as a result of increased first-time buyers, which we all know the platform's
Yeah.
been dumping a decent chunk of change into trying to keep that. Now that they're talking about it a lot, oh, we had this, whatever 20 million or whatever crazy amount of first-time, app users or first-time buyers on the app. They're probably putting a lot of effort into keeping that number up, which would translate to you getting a lot more first-time buyers. And a lot of first-time buyers are testing you out because they want to know the totality of what you have to offer besides just the item, the shipping, customer service, whether the item is what you were showing, and to come back and buy more. But the beauty is you fulfill on all those principles. That's what happens. They come back and buy more. So
I have another myth on free shipping, one that we haven't talked about
that's
yet.
what I wanted to know. We didn't talk about a whole bunch
I
of
have
different
another
myths.
one. So I've heard this. If you do free shipping, you're skimping on shipping materials. You're not shipping
Oh,
properly.
yeah.
So you're either cheating the system or you're skimping on materials. There is no way Tracy's using the right amount of bubble wrap if she's doing free shipping. There's just no way that's happening. So 100% myth, because this is my reputation on the line. What good does it do me to go to the effort to get a high quality item, to put it in front of you, to sell it to you, to take the time to pack it and pack it wrong just so it breaks and then you never come back? That like it doesn't even sound right, but it defeats the whole purpose.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
an
I think the person that ships like crap is going to do that whether they charge shipping or not.
Yep.
They're just crappy shippers.
Yes.
I think that's just more people trying to discount other sellers, basically bash them, trying to they're trying to use scare tactics.
Correct.
In reality, we all know it's not going to work. But if you're running a business and you realize all the principles that are benefited to you by offering free shipping, the value in it is the whole, the whole way across the board. And if you do what we talk about, where you're going to do the numbers, so your numbers are going to include your shipping costs to, right out of the gate. And most people are not going to just go, well, the numbers would work if for some reason I shaved 30, to 50 cents worth of shipping supplies off. And then now it's worth it for me to do free shipping. I mean, get out of here. Come on. No, they're going to just go, yeah, I'm not really comfortable with this. This isn't working for me. So I'm not going to do free shipping. They're not going to start skimping in order to make free shipping. The reason they're going to stick with free shipping is because they see the increase in the value that it brought, which means they don't need to decrease any other attribute of what they're doing. So if you're going through it as, with a business mind, and realize most people that are going to adopt it aren't just jumping in blind, they're going to do it, with the right mindset. There, it makes no sense that they would be like, yep, we're going to start skimping on shipping supplies, boxes. We're not going to wrap the things properly. We're going to throw it in a Tyvek bag and cross our fingers and say a prayer that it makes it to the person in one piece. I mean, seriously, you're going to damage the entire other aspect of your business just to offer free shipping? No,
That makes sense.
that's not going to happen.
No.
I've also heard the myth, if they're doing free shipping, they've just increased their prices elsewhere. For those of us that do dollar starts, I don't know where we're hiding
I mean,
it.
it's
I mean,
hard to justify that when you're doing dollar starts or low consistent starts, right?
If you're talking to someone that is a dollar start before and a dollar start after, that has no validity.
Exactly.
However, how many times have you gotten the question though about free shipping and should I just
Yeah.
raise my start prices?
Yes, you're on to it. Yep. I have a million times I've gotten that question. So, the answer is no, by the
So
way.
yeah, here's the thing I'm going to say. Now, let's say you did adopt that. I have no problem with people doing that because you are actually increasing the perceived value of the said item then, because people.
Shush, Jeremy.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I don't let's just look at it from this perspective. I don't advocate for you doing that, but that argument, you increase your start prices if you're going to adopt that and do free shipping from the principle of people's perceived value and how they don't like shipping. It's a non-tangible cost expense, which is one of the attributes of why I advocate for free shipping. And then if you decide you want to transfer it over to higher start prices, that increases in their perceived if you're gonna do that. If you have the buyer base to do that, do I think that's the right and most effective and efficient way to do it? No, but I'm just saying that if someone were to do that, you're not doing the opposite of what they're. You're accomplishing what you want. You're actually increasing the value by to the as a perception to the person that's buying.
I do have to say, when I first did free shipping, I wasn't at an even start price. I wasn't at dollar starts when I first started free shipping. I was at 3, 5, 7, 8, whatever. I didn't increase the prices I had already, like in my bin. But as I listed new items, if I would have done it for 6, I did it for 8. So I did that, increase prices to some extent. It was very, very short lived. And when I say short lived, I'm talking weeks until I realized I hated pricing so bad I just went to dollar starts and said heck with it. But I mean, I not drastic price increases and not with anything that anybody had already seen. But there was an extra dollar or two added on.
I said shush because Tony has talked about with the clothing. What was your thought? Stop it.
So
I'm doing something similar like that.
okay, you understand where I'm coming from. I'm just trying to put an end to the myth that people are talking about. I don't advocate for anyone to do that. The core principle of offering free shipping below starts is to create that endowment effect, to create the acceleration in value, so that the entirety of what they pay for creates value for them. Because we all know if you spend $10 for an item and $10 for shipping on that, you don't perceive that as a $20 value to you. You perceive that as a $10 value and a $10 loss.
Yes.
It's that simple. But if they bid it up to $20, they view that item as worth $20. So you increase the perceived value to that person. That is what free shipping and low starts provide for you. It's one of the benefits, large benefits to offering free shipping. It's like an inverse loss aversion principle. You don't like shipping because you're trying to not pay for something that has no tangible value to you.
Yeah.
Okay, it's an expected aspect that they're going to ship it to you, so there's no value. It's not even a service value anymore because it's expected. It's not appreciated as a service. So eliminating the shipping leaves room for additional product value.
Yes.
And when things increase in value, they hold it in more value, thereby bidding even higher for the merchandise to compensate for that.
I think
So
we've
no, I
covered
don't
this.
advocate for.
No.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask you guys a question because I think we've kind of covered this around about. We've talked about it, but how would you respond, or what would you say to the tons of people out there who say buyer pays all? If they want it, they're going to pay shipping for it. If they want it bad enough, they pay. People don't have a problem paying shipping. This is something I hear frequently as a reason not to do reduced or free shipping.
Will the buyer pay for it if they want it? Is that what you're saying? They'll pay for it if they want it?
There's a train of thought or just a lot of talk of, oh, the buyer will pay it. If they want the item, they're going to pay shipping for it. You don't have to do reduced or free. I've never done reduced or free. My buyers pay shipping all the time. They want the item. They have no problem paying shipping for it.
Yeah, the only items they're going to sell in an environment like that are when somebody takes the long-term mental math, which they'll have the availability to do, because you're not selling in any expedited fashion in an environment like that. I can almost assure you of that. It's going to be a methodical, slow sale environment. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm just going to go out on a limb, and it's not a thin one. It's a pretty sturdy branch that I'm going out on, saying that that's the case for those type of sales, which is going to result in low quantity of sales, and they're only going to bite on the items that have a discounted value to it in the product in of itself.
Not 100% correct. I mean, there's going to be exceptions, and there are exceptions to what you're saying.
I think if you're selling $1,000 swung vase, what does it matter if you're charging $9, $15 shipping? If you want it, there's not a lot of $1,000 swung vases out there. If you want it, you're going to pay the shipping.
If the items are unique enough, they can justify the higher start price and the shipping price.
So that's coming down to a very meticulously curated, specific.
Which is what he was just talking about.
A slow sale. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, a extremely slow, and how profitable are you able to make that is the question. And how many items are these people selling that throw this allegation or this principle out there? How successful are these as far as sellers go? Those are the things you need to look at. I have my guesses. I don't know who the people are that are saying this and how many of them are saying it, but what's their selling metrics like? What's their success metrics like? I don't believe that it's going to be very high. That's my personal belief. I don't know who they are. I'm just.
I think in general you're correct. There will be and are exceptions to what you just said.
Yeah, and I will always say I don't deal
with that.
Dealing in an exception, they're exception for a reason.
Correct.
And not everyone can adopt that exception.
Correct. Correct. That is absolutely correct. So, and we're not speaking names. I'm just saying there are exceptions out there who can make that a successful business.
I've heard it. I mean, and yeah, it's not anybody in particular. I've heard it in all kinds of places on whatnot, but it's also highly prevalent throughout the Facebook groups and various social media sites. Like it's just a common train of thought that's out there.
Yeah, but
And that's one of my things for the clothing is I want clothing because I want to be different. One, you can get these bales of clothing, right? But I want to be different with clothing than what 90% of the sellers are on Whatnot, which is the
Buyer pays all shipping.
pull it off the hanger, give you all the measurements, give you every bit of the call out, you pay all the shipping, and probably not dollar starting it for the most part. But I wanted to do something completely different than what I'm seeing across the board. So
you're saying the clothing shows do this? They charge full shipping and do all that?
most do.
Most of them do.
Most do.
And so do the luxury, right?
Oh yeah.
Like luxury categories and all that. You do
Yeah,
know that
from what I've seen, yes.
as a percentage, was Whatnot not complaining about the fact that they have the lowest conversion rates? They have the highest growth, but the lowest conversion rates.
Interesting.
What's that?
So that's
That's what they
interesting.
said. Yes, that's what they said. And guess what they're doing? Yeah, they
Raising
grew like
shipping prices.
crazy. As far as the broad, like a ton of people being on there to sell in that category, and it grew like crazy, but the conversion rates are extremely low.
Yeah.
And if that's any type of potential correlation, it just lends to exactly what I was saying.
Yep.
It results in low sales, low quantity of sales, and probably pretty low profit margins as well. Because no matter which way you slice it, I mean, honestly, you can't sit here and think that charging full shipping is not going to have an impact.
Yeah.
That's like saying increased gas prices aren't going to have an impact because if you want to get somewhere, you're going to pay for it.
Well, you just go less places.
Well, you're going to go, yeah, it's going to affect you.
Of course it will.
There's no two ways about it. It's going to affect you. And where it's going to affect you is going to affect you in the price you're going to be able to get for the merchandise you're selling.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. I'm 7 minutes beyond my official timekeeping, but we only have 8 minutes remaining. So, last questions from anybody in the chat? Last comments? Any last things we wanted to touch base on?
There's a question that says, how many viewers do you think it's safe to do dollar starts?
So we answered this earlier in the podcast, but dollar starts. We'll start with dollar starts because that's what we all agreed upon that you do first. But it's as Tracy said, build it and they will come. Dollar starts, good product, a good personality. I'll bring people into your room and help you build that room count, not the other way around.
Yeah, I think the mentality around dollar starts needs to be switched around to say not how many people are in my room to do dollar starts, but how many people will come to my room because I'm doing dollar starts.
Exactly.
So if you look at it as the latter, then you will, as Jeremy said with his watch shows, you will probably lose some money building the audience for dollar starts, but they will come.
And the payoff will be worth it.
Will incrementally increase the longer you do it, and you'll make your money back that you lost at the beginning, and then some.
And then
so
some, yeah.
If you stop looking at it as how big do I have to be to do dollar starts, and turn it into how many people might come to my room because I'm doing dollar starts, and it's hard. Listen, guys, it's hard. It's hard for me. It's hard, from the static selling platform. Jeremy talks about it all the time. From the static selling platform to come into here and start, or come into Whatnot. I'm on YouTube. We're not coming into YouTube to sell. To come into Whatnot and sell things and start it at $1 and hope and pray that you make enough money to make profit on them or hope and pray that you can build your room into something that does it. It takes cojones. It does. But it just depends on what you want to do with what you're working with. Do you want to do dollar starts and grow it into something, or do you want to do what you're doing, price it at what you're pricing it at, and sell it the way you're selling it? If you're comfortable with that, then great. Have fun with it. Nobody's bad mouthing you because you don't do dollar starts and you're comfortable with what you're doing. But if you want an opportunity to potentially grow your business just because of starting things at $1 rather than 12, why wouldn't you look at it? I'm done.
Well, thank you for clarifying that.
100%. You're welcome.
What's Noel whispering over there?
I know, you see me, he's like, oh, we've already answered the question. So when you say grow, what kind of expectation should we have of what the end game would look like?
Well, that's on you.
Yeah.
What does the end game look for like for you? What is your aspirations for what your business should be? Some people don't want a warehouse with 20 employees. Some people do. That's what you want and what your goals are.
Yeah. But the thing is, utilizing these tools help you achieve your goal, no matter what that is. Is what I want people to understand as well.
Right.
Like, you don't have to be huge to take advantage or to leverage reduce or free shipping and dollar starts.
Yeah.
But it also will scale with you if you decide you want to be one person, or as Lysandra said, a warehouse full of 20 employees, or freaking franchise across the United States.
And I would add to
Also
that
good.
before my husband, oh, he's going to jump in. Hold on, let him jump in.
I'm
here you go.
gonna answer Lysandra's question. What I told her to mention was to reiterate what Jeremy said in the beginning. And this is because we don't know if they just joined or not. It is not an all or nothing proposition. You can do one item at $1, test the waters, use it as a loss leader, figure it out how it performs, and then make your conclusions. You don't have to do the whole entire show and be afraid of losing your shirt. Do one. Just be strategic when you do it.
And I'm going to just pitch in on answering Miranda's question. I totally agree with what everybody else has said about the sky's the limit on whatever you want for your business. But in practicality, they will come. Do you know how to deal with your chat? Are you interactive? Can you run that room? Are you in control of your show? So know that they're going to be there. Be prepared to be the one in charge and leading them through that experience, and keep them engaged, because getting them there is one thing, keeping them there is another. So be prepared to keep them there.
We got 2 minutes. We got any other question or anything else we want to go over? I had a bunch of notes, but I guess I'll just save that for a future talk.
Wow, you have notes that we didn't get to?
Well, yeah, I mean, I have notes that just kind of lays out the key principles of value to utilizing dollar stars and free shipping. You guys have heard a lot of it, so and I already talked about some of them. So
put them in your bin and sell them for $1.
No. No, I mean, it's the psychological and behavioral principles behind. I mean, I didn't get a chance to talk about the endowment effect or to explain it. So, but we don't have enough time to really go over that. And I wanted to go, hopefully at some point in time, I can go over, the loss aversion principles, and utilizing free shipping creates that friction-free environment that I'm always talking about. I did talk about the inverse loss aversion principle as well. With free shipping, gives you house money essentially. Yeah. To keep compounding the value base for you. But we'll save all that for another time. Or maybe I'll talk about it.
Of using house money.
What's that?
I
Well, no,
said I'm a big proponent of using house money.
well, and that's what happens when you utilize free shipping. That's one of the principles that gets engaged in people
Yes, sir.
mentally. They're like, okay, comparison to these other people that are charging $4, $5, $8, $10, $12 for shipping. Now I have that to play with over here. You know,
Or
I can spend that. I can spend more on the merchandise itself.
or the
So-
921 every 5 items.
Yeah, but whatever it is, you know, whatever you're used
It
to
adds
with
up.
other people's.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
All right, boys and girls, then we're going to call tonight done. I believe what you just heard was potentially another podcast on Jeremy's psychological tricks that
With,
Not
that we don't know
tricks.
anything about.
They're
With
not
all-
I'm
tricks.
joking. It was a joke.
with all those notes, it'll have to be a Jeremy special.
Yeah, right. It's Jeremy's special.
It's actually the title of my thing is Auction Theory and Behavioral Principles. So, but
It even has a title.
Oh my god! I'm joking. It was a joke.
no,
everybody.
I've been having fun. Next thing that's coming is a book.
It should, honestly. All right, then let's call it done, and we will see you guys next Sunday.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Thanks for joining, everybody. Catch you all later.
See you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.